So let's start with a brief introduction. Thank you for introducing yourselves to me. As I said, I'm Sheli Streck, and I'm the Director of Business Development at AAI CML. And thank you for coming. I know we have a small group, and I appreciate you sharing with me what your expectations are for this presentation. And certainly if you don't get all the information that you need, let me know, and we can talk later, or certainly we can email at a later date. So. First, AAI and CML are two companies that are coming together. AAI is a drug formulation and drug product organization, and I'll talk more about that. And CML is a API process development and manufacturing for chemical APIs. Within the organization, we certainly have a complementary group of the arms of our business. And of course, the idea is a holistic approach. The idea is a holistic approach to be able to take a project from early clinical or even preclinical from the API perspective all the way through commercial manufacturing. And with our API group, we have two facilities, one in Germantown, Wisconsin, and one in the Weert, Netherlands. Both facilities are FDA approved and approved with EMA as well as MHRA, and we'll certainly talk more about the API development and manufacturing. Of course, the idea is we're bringing technical expertise with the core competencies of manufacturing. With over 50%, about 62% of the group have their PhDs. So you have the confidence that the person that's working on your project absolutely knows the chemistry. We also, I'm going to skip to our finished dose development and manufacturing. So the facilities we have are Wilmington, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston is where we do the development for parentals and manufacturing for parentals. And then in Wilmington, we have the site for our oral solid dosage formulation development and manufacturing. We also have packaging as well in Wilmington. Our middle arm that really connects everything is our analytical services. And basically, it's an entire plethora of the analytical services from development through the support that you would see. And this is also a standalone business for us, of course. So we have 7 sites, respectively. The sites for API development in Weert and Germantown have their own set of analytical services, as well as the Wilmington and Durham site. And then we have just standalone analytical services in Edison and St. Louis. I think that this slide is probably one of my favorite slides because it does tell the entire story of AAI CML. Certainly, really collaboration is the key in communication to being able to take a project all the way from preclinical through first in man through commercial manufacturing. And we can do that for your API as well as for drug product. So with the formulation development, and then of course our packaging. So whoops, you can see we also have, that I haven't hit on, but our full services of stability. So we can provide all the way through clinical, through post-approval, and into phase 4 post-launch. So I know there's several of you in the room that are interested in the API facilities. And the thing I would like to highlight is, again, it goes back to technical expertise, collaboration, and customer service. And this facility, our API facilities, we have 2, like I said, one facility in the US, and then a facility in Weert, Netherlands. And in the US, we have the ability to have small-scale manufacturing, where we have 3 separate analytical and QC labs, as well as 4 R&D labs and 5 GMP kilo suites. And then subsequently across the road, we would have our larger scale API production facility, which that facility can actually manufacture anywhere from 10 kilos all the way up to 20, 30, 40 metric tons. So we can actually take an API project from early phase through toxicology on into your commercial manufacturing supply. With the Weert facility, it's just very similar, except the scale is smaller. So we would want to focus on early work or work kilos that would be about maybe to 20 kilos that would provide an overall batch size. Our process chemistry group, again, this group has about 70% of their scientists have PhDs. They work very closely with the manufacturing group as the project's being transferred to the manufacturing group. So they have their hands in not only the process development, but also being right on site for scale up. You're able to have that expertise transferring into your manufacturing. Our project management team, which really I think is where the technical service and customer service comes into play with our group, because the project manager owns the project, and they're able to have their hands and be involved in every step, every day. They're meeting with the process chemist, meeting with the analytical group if we're developing methods. So that group, the project management group, really does own the project. Several slides you'll see that I have listed our key instruments, just so you have a good idea of what's available. I'm certainly not going to read through those. However, I think that the key takeaway is that we have the full complement of analytical services, whether it's for development or just your testing, where we have the standalone business. Process validation support, genotox impurities, the DISO. So we have the complement that you would really expect for your project. This is a little bit of our one capability for large molecules is with our biopharmaceutical development. And again, the key instrumentation on the side. I don't think that this group that I'm talking to today is so much interested in this, but certainly we have that capability. We can do amino acid analysis, peptide analysis, monoclonal antibody, physiochemical characterizations. So this is one way in which we can work with the mammalian organizations. So moving into our formulation development, this actually happens at 2 sites. So we have our formulation development for our parentals, as well as for our oral solid dose in Wilmington. The parentals is in Charleston. And so our capabilities are our large and small molecules and suspensions, solutions, emulsions. We have lyophilized products. The organization is expanding currently, and we've just purchased a new lyophilizer, and that's being validated right now. So we have an additional capability in Charleston. And then our oral solid dose, this is just, our formulation development folks have been doing this for years. They're very good at it. Certainly have a lot of organizations that come to us for help with developing generics and formulating a new process for their finished product. Capsule solids, mini tablets, immediate release, powders for reconstitutions, liquids, certainly many different capabilities there in Wilmington. Our stability, storage, and testing, this is an area where it's in one building in Wilmington, stands alone. However, we do have multiple redundancies and backups in other locations. We have stability in Durham with a full complement of stability chambers in Durham, as well as in St. Louis. So we have the REASE automated environmental monitoring, which is critical for this technology, and it does allow us to, again, go all the way through your clinical trial through commercial manufacturing. Our clinical and commercial manufacturing division for oral solids and parenterals, again, all of our sites are FDA and EMEA and MHRA approved. So that's the 7 sites. With our oral solid dose and our parenteral manufacturing, again, one of the key components for our projects really becomes that project manager, because the project manager is setting in on every conversation that's happening regarding the project. They're owning the project, and they're the ones who are really responsible. And so we have such great communication with that project manager leading, but you're also able to certainly work with the team, with the chemist. If there's an issue, it's easy to be able to pick up the phone just because the size of the organization. We're about 1,000 employees. We're about 1,000 employees overall. For our oral solid dose manufacturing, again, some of the key equipment. Certainly the things that I think you would expect to see from granulation, blending, encapsulation, compression, and coating. We're also going through an expansion in our oral solid dose manufacturing. We're adding on another line. We currently have 10 flexible GMP manufacturing suites. We're adding one more suite. Again, like I said, with the project manager leading the project, it really does offer a continuum of service from the, if the project started with us an API, then it's all the way through with that project manager. Our parenteral manufacturing, again, is in Charleston. And we are, like I said, we are going through an expansion there as well. I don't think I told you that. We brought on a new lyophilizer, but we're also going through an expansion with pre-filled syringe line. And so we're excited about that. We've invested several $1 million just recently into this arm of our organization. We can take the project from first in human all the way through commercial, so through your clinical trials. The vial sizes are 2 to 50, but we can also do 100 mLs, but they're all glass vials. So that is one thing that sometimes can be a little bit of a limitation. And we're looking at bringing on some different capabilities for different types of vials. We have on-site formulation development, which we've already talked through. And again, the project management is key for the communication and collaboration with keeping the project a success. We have packaging and labeling and distribution in Wilmington, North Carolina. So at this point, we could literally take a project from API, development, process chemistry, through manufacturing, and then transition that project with the same project manager through to our formulations group, where we can do formulations development and manufacturing, and then ultimately we can package and label and distribute that. The one thing I want to highlight is for your clinical projects, we do have product return and reconciliation. So we just make sure, thank you, we just make sure that all the product that we said was used, and it's returned to us, and we're managing that for you. And again, the equipment that we have currently available, and of course we can retool some of those lines as necessary. We talked a little bit about our analytical testing. This group really can be a standalone group where we're just providing contracts and FTE work for a customer for certain, whatever the testing would be. It may be a project that's already on the market, or it may be a project that you're looking to pass through the continuum. Again, if it's just an analytical testing contract, we have certainly project managers that manage that business as well. So you feel like you have that communication and collaboration with an analytical project, just like you would if it were an API or a formulation or manufacturing product. One thing that I did not mention is that at our Weert Germany, or our Weert Netherlands facility, we have solid state chemistry capabilities, and so our analytical group works directly with the ProCryst solid state, doing salt testing on salt solutions and polymorphs. With regards to, this is the last slide of the presentation. With regards to the, just really the benefits of projects that could be in AAI or CML, really is the continuum. We can certainly tech transfer a project in phase 3 for API or for drug product, and we would be able to, after tech transfer, certainly do a demo batch and manufacture. But also, we can take that project from the very beginning all the way through the end with the same project manager. Communicating with that team is critical. So we have, I think that really the technical expertise is the fact that our scientists are involved at every level. We're globally located, but we have the accessibility in the US where our scientists can really be quickly at one site or another and be touching a project. The service-driven culture is really around collaboration and communication. And how do we do that? It's different for each customer because a small organization needs something different than a large organization. And our solutions, our end-to-end solutions is basically exactly what we've just talked about, which would be being able to take that project all the way through the continuum. We've invested recently about $70 million into the organization over a certain period of time, of course, but we've just been approved for another investment in Wilmington. So things are pretty exciting at AAI and CML, and certainly there's the ability to have your project under one roof. So with that said, thank you.